God, I need a fucking haircut. My hair is just so damn ugly.
I have the little zzz for you. Remember?
We're live.
Yeah.
Hello, Jacksonites. So surprise, I am doing a Q&A video and I'm combining it with my 2023 year-end review. I was originally just going to do the year-end review, but I realized, I've been stuck on like 370 subscribers. I'd gained one or two for like the last 3 years. So a new Q&A video was long overdue. We've had a lot of shit happen to us in the last 3 years. So this, I just thought it'd be an opportunity for just a little bit of harmless fun. Spider.
Fuck. It better not be.
And I see where you have 3 people here. Vic is here. Shawnee Boy is here. And Andrew is here. What? So, beginning with the Q&A video, my hair is just atrocious. Pardon the snaggletooth appearance. I asked, my hair looks jagged and uneven. Looks awful.
It is not.
I'm probably going to cut it off tonight. And for the first time since Terminator Dark Fate, I have coffee here to drink.
In a Hello Kitty mug.
No, I don't like Hello Kitty.
Yes, he does.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
No, I do not.
Yeah, he does.
I just live with a Hello Kitty.
I love you very much.
Love you too. Oh, that's good. Alrighty, so, oh no, Andrew, I have Cherry Pepsi Zero. Of course I have burp fuel. Come on now. Alrighty, so I reached out to my co-hosts and also Meadow, and I asked them to send me some questions. I did do a community post, but nobody likes to comment on that, so fuck. What's the point of me even doing community posts? Everybody gave me at least 5 questions. I think Victoria gave me 20. But I asked Meadow, Andrew, Sean, Pierce, Jack, and Vic to send me all questions. I think I have maybe 30 or 35 questions here to answer. A lot of them are really good. So this will hopefully give us a lot of good discussions today. I'm excited for this. It's been a while since I've done one. But the first 5 from Meadow, and I have them on my phone here. Oh yeah, you like my background for my phone? Yeah, I just have them here on my phone. So I'm going to be looking kind of back and forth because I have my phone just propped up over here. All right, the first 5 questions from Meadow. What is the #1 movie that got a sequel that you don't think should have? I can give you 2 examples. And both of them, I think, should have turned out differently in a very similar manner. Them being The Exorcist and The Crow. Neither of these movies needed sequels, nor do they need to become franchises. In both cases, equally for different reasons. The Exorcist, because that franchise is cursed, seemingly, in that no matter how hard the filmmakers try, they simply can't catch that creative lightning in a bottle twice. They keep trying too hard in what they think is what an Exorcist movie should be, and for one reason or another, it just doesn't work. And as for The Crow, now The Crow, I think, had the potential to become a franchise, but not the way that the filmmakers were trying to make it into. The Crow, City of Angels, one of its biggest issues is that Harvey Weinstein just wanted to turn it into a rehash of the first Crow film, and that's not what the film should have been. In its original form, The Crow City Angels would have been a very worthy sequel to the original film, but because fucking Harvey Weinstein thinks that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, it's not even a shell or shadow of its former self, which is a shame. I do think that for both cases, Exorcist and The Crow, they could have been franchises in the sense of being like anthology franchises. And that is kind of what they do with the Crow movies, but sadly they just kept getting shittier and shittier as they went on. But especially for The Exorcist, I don't think it would have been a bad concept to show like different kinds of exorcisms through different cultures. Like the first one's Christian and Catholic. Like one Exorcist film could have been like could have taken place in Spain. One could have taken place in the Middle East. One in South America. One in Canada. Like who? Like different types of exorcisms across different religions. But the theme is that somebody is always possessed by a demon. And the various horrific and fucked up things the demon does to the host and people around it. That could have been a cool concept, but nope. Shawnee Boy here says Exorcist 3 is at least somewhat interesting. The director didn't want to call it Exorcist 3 though. Well, that surely was a studio thing. But I've actually never seen Exorcist 3. I haven't seen any Exorcist movie except for the original, simply just because I none of the Exorcist sequels or prequels really interest me. Except for admittedly, I kind of do want to check out this new Exorcist movie, but I also want to check out that short-lived Exorcist TV series with Gina Davis as a grown-up Reagan. I think that would have been kind of cool. Or it looks kind of cool, but I think it got canceled after like 2 seasons. But that was a good start. Question number 2 is number 1 unnecessary reboot movie. The remake of Martyrs comes to mind. I've never seen Martyrs, but from what I've heard through the grapevine, the remake of Martyrs is a very watered down, very half-assed, just piss poor remake of the Martyrs, and it came out I think only like 2 years after the original Martyrs, because Martyrs I think is a French film, and then there was an American version that came out 2 or 3 years afterwards, and apparently it's not even half as good. Cabin Fever 2016 also comes to mind. Like, on top of it only coming out 14 years after the original Cabin Fever, um, but it's also a shot-for-shot copy of the original Cabin Fever. Like, what the hell was the point? Okay, I'll kind of agree with Sean here. The remake of The Lion King also comes to mind. I didn't hate that film necessarily, but I did think that it was just a little bit pointless. The 1998 Psycho remake also, yeah, along those lines comes to mind. Um, but most unnecessary. Honestly, of those, I'll probably have to say the Omen remake. That was purely made just so that the studio could cash in on it coming out on June 6th, 2006. Get it? 666. And like Psycho 1998, it's very similar to the original movie. And here's a pro tip. If you ever see a remake and you know who wrote the original movie and they give credit to the original writer in the opening credits, that's usually going to be a telltale sign that the movie is going to be very similar to its original. I like this movie, but the 2013 Carrie remake is also guilty of that as well. That was a good one too. This is a cute one. Number one favorite movie you saw with me in theaters. This is from Meadow. So, favorite movie I saw with Meadow in theaters. Well, the obvious one is Godzilla King of the Monsters, which it probably is that. But I also really liked Aquaman. And It Chapter 2. Those are probably my top 3 favorites movies I saw with Meadow in theaters. Well, very close honorable mention being Venom as well, too. And Halloween. Okay, there's my top 5. Venom, Halloween, Godzilla King of the Monsters, It Chapter 2, and Aquaman. Those are my 5 favorite films I've seen with Meadow in theaters. Oh, and Horror is Metal. Horror is Metal. Horror and Metal is here. Yo. Horror and Metal channel. Her fourth question is number one most underrated zombie movie. Underrated zombie movie. It Stains the Sands Red, I think, is pretty underrated. Uh, what else? The first Zombie Diaries movie. What else? Oh, the 2008 remake of Day of the Dead. I defend the movie a lot, although it is a terrible zombie movie and a terrible Day of the Dead remake, but I do get some enjoyment out of it. At least it's gory. That's the coffee down. And her final question is best Godzilla movie soundtrack. Damn. Best Godzilla soundtrack. Well, Godzilla King of the Monsters comes to mind. Godzilla Final Wars also comes to mind. And Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2 also comes to mind. For the best, I'll probably give that to maybe Mothra versus Godzilla, because that just kind of that entire soundtrack just epitomizes both like classic villainous Godzilla and classic Showa Godzilla. Um, I also do think of all the Godzilla films that Akira Ifukube scored, that might be his best work. But my personal favorite has got to be a tie between Mechagodzilla 2 and King of the Monsters 2019. Yeah. All right, that's Meadows' questions down. Now we'll move on to Lord Hellhound. Who is your favorite horror villain? That'll probably be Michael Myers, with Pennywise as a close second. Um, Bill Skarsgård, Pennywise specifically, not Tim Curry. But I'd probably have to go for Michael Myers. I think he's the scariest. I think he's the most badass. He's the most intimidating. Like I'd rather take on Jason than Michael Myers, to be 100% honest. Call me crazy, and I know they're so similar, but yeah, I'm scared more of Michael Myers. What's your favorite kaiju film? Oh, fair warning, there probably are going to be a lot of uh, repeat questions in this video. So if there is, I'll have to skip them over. What's your favorite kaiju film? It's a tie between, if it's for like purely monster like kaiju films, it's a tie between Godzilla Final Wars and Godzilla King of the Monsters. But for like other kaiju media like Kamen Rider or especially Ultraman, hands down, I'm very partial to the Ultraman Zero saga. Mega Monster Battle, Ultra Galaxy Legends, the movie, Ultraman Zero, The Revenge of Belial, Ultraman Saga, and the two Ultraman Zero side stories, Zero versus Darklops Zero, and Ultraman Zero Killer the Beatstar. That little saga right there, that's like the epitome of my favorite era, like my top tier favorite era of Ultraman. Who's your favorite kaiju other than Godzilla? Zeton from the Ultraman franchise. Yeah, the original Zeton with well, really any variant of Zeton I think is pretty awesome, but Hyper Zeton and I'm totally drawing a blank. Shin Zeton from Shin Ultraman in particular, but yeah, Zeton overall. No, I don't think EX Zeton, like he looks cool, but I don't think EX Zeton is all that strong. Um, but just in general, yeah, any variant of Zeton, I'm all on board for. What the hell is that sound? Next question is, what's your favorite Godzilla movie? All right, I already said that. It's Final Wars and King of the Monsters. Oy vey, that title just rolls right off your tongue. Mega Monster Battle, Ultra Galaxy Legends, the movie. So that's worse than GMK. And then Vic here likes to say Mega Monster Ultra Galaxy Battle Odyssey Extravaganza 9000. um, yeah, that title just rolls right off your tongue. But Hellhound's final question here is, what inspired you to become a YouTuber? James Rolfe. Yeah, since day one of watching James Rolfe, I'm just like, I want to be this guy. I want to do what this guy does for a living. Any ETA on when that's going to happen? Oh, well, that's all on me. But it's hard to do, man, when you're a parent and you can't save money. But we're not talking about real world problems here. Ooh, that's good. It's a shame that Cherry Pepsi Zero is hard to find. But yeah, James Rolfe, he inspired me to become a YouTuber, along with a few others like Zazubar, um, Toku Time, and even the Maniacal Cinephile or Stitched Together Productions. But definitely James Rolfe. So that's Hellhound taken care of. Now we have Pierce, aka Cinematic Trash. Question number one from him is thoughts on Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I've actually like purposely kind of kept myself away from checking that out, but of course I've seen snippets of it here and there. Um, I came from the bottom of my feet. Um, I've seen snippets of it here and there. The effects look great. It definitely looks like a big budget series. And I like the inclusion of Kurt Russell in the main cast. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not all that excited to check it out because I don't like streaming services. I don't like it when shows and movies are. I mean, I don't necessarily mind Netflix because I don't know. Netflix is trustworthy for. Well, they're not completely trustworthy, but of all the streaming services out there, except for Tubi, but that's free, of all the streaming services, I think Netflix is the most trustworthy because whenever they put out actual good quality shit, they keep it up there for good. But yeah, I don't have Apple TV Plus, and I don't have any desire to get Apple TV Plus. Um, And I know that because it's a show, it probably is going to be mainly human centric for the most part. And we won't really see a whole lot of monster action until the last 2 or 3 episodes of the season. So that just doesn't really like fully excite me. But it does look promising. It doesn't look like a bad show at all. Of course, you would say that, Vic. Netflix doesn't have Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie anymore, so I don't trust them. Well, you have that on DVD. But anyway, but yeah, to be 100% honest, I'm not that excited about it, mainly just because unless it comes out on DVD, I will never watch it because I just don't like streaming exclusive content. And I think that's shitty. It's like a way to force people into subscribing to a streaming service in order to watch something. I don't support that. That's why if I ever get around to watching and ranking all of the Hellraiser films, very strong disclaimer, I will not be including the Hulu Hellraiser film because it's still like Prey got a DVD release. Why not the new Hellraiser movie? But nope, there's no um, sign that that movie will be put out on DVD anytime soon, so I'll just never be watching it. No, I'm not going to. Sean suggested that a few times. Wait for all 10 episodes to air and then use a free trial. I'm not even going to do that. I don't have any interest. If it gets a DVD release, of course I'll watch it and review it. But until then, I'm not watching it. I know that sounds kind of like that might sound gatekeepy and closed-minded, but I'm just not interested. So that's my thoughts. It looks promising. It looks good. And it looks well made, but unless it gets a DVD release, I won't be watching it. That was lame. Question number 2 is thoughts on Godzilla -1. Mixed to say the least. The trailers and the snippets I've seen, once again they look promising, and I'm very glad that we are still in a very comfortable midst of this big kaiju renaissance, especially with the decline of superhero films. It's nice to see that the giant monster genre is seemingly doing a nice job of trying to fill that void. Um, and I like that, content that I'm a big fan of is in relatively easy access, like now more than ever. But like the movie itself, um, it's another solo Godzilla movie, and it's yet another Godzilla reboot. Like this is, I think, the 15th Godzilla reboot that Toho has put out over nearly 70 years. So, and especially with Toho being just seemingly choosing to stay stuck in this cycle of constantly rebooting Godzilla again and again and again and again and again. Um, I'm just getting kind of sick of it. I'm tired of Godzilla anthology. I'd like some consistency, please. Um, and especially on some details that I've learned about Godzilla minus one. I do like that it seemingly is taking a lot of influence, like visually, from Godzilla 2014. And if all goes well, this does look like it might be the beginning of a new Godzilla, like full on series, and not just yet another Godzilla movie in the anthology series of Godzilla. Um, um, but I'm also not. I plan to go see it in theaters, but I know it's not going to get a DVD release until probably the end of next year, or maybe the beginning of the year after that. Because how long did it take Shin Godzilla to come out on DVD when it came out in the States? And that's another thing too. Minus one definitely looks like it's taking a lot of cues from Shin Godzilla, and I'm not a big fan of that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just very mixed. I'm glad that there's another Godzilla movie coming out, but it kind of looks like it's more of the stuff that I'm not a big fan of. So it's a little hard for me to be excited about more of that. But again, the movie does look promising, so I'll give it that. Question number 3 is, have you seen Terrifier 1 and 2, and are you interested in 3? I've seen the first 20 minutes of Terrifier 1, I think about 3 times, and I just keep shutting it off. I own Terrifier 2, but not Terrifier 1. It's on Tubi, though. But yeah, I am interested in 3. I did hear a lot of not really controversy, but like everyone making a big stink out of like how violent and fucked up Terrifier 2 is when it came out. And I heard a lot of people bitching and complaining that it's almost 2.5 hours long. Like, who the fuck cares? Um, but that series is a little hard for me to get into, because for me it's kind of style over substance. It's just carnage and gore and mayhem just for the sake of seeing such. But I'll try to get into that series. Number 4 is, have you seen The Legend of Dinosaurs and Monster Birds from 1977? No, I have not. I know it's a Toei movie, the same studio that put out Kamen Rider, and I know that despite it being called Legend of Dinosaurs and Monster Birds, there's no dinosaurs. There's a Rhamphorhynchus and an Elasmosaurus, and it's a huge Jaws ripoff. I don't really have any interest in seeing that film. No, thank you. And the last question here, are you a fan of any Shaw Brothers films? I'm not against seeing Shaw Brothers movies, but I don't go out of my way to see Shaw Brothers movies. The only one that I did was Super Inframan, but only because that has giant monsters and giant superheroes fighting with kung fu. I'm sold. Let's see. I'm gonna get a couple of Vicks out of the way while she's still here. Um, Vic sent me a lot. A lot. Okay, Vic's question number 1. I'm not gonna do all of them because well, actually, no, maybe I could. Like, currently. What was your favorite movie you watched this year? Not necessarily released in 2023, but any of the ones you watched in the year 2023. I kind of have to go with the second option because, to be honest, I've only seen, I think, 4 movies from the year 2023. I saw Renfield, John Wick 4, Cocaine Bear, and The Last of Us Season 1. I think that's it. At least all the ones off the top of my head. 2023, to be 100% honest, has been an extremely kind of mediocre year for movies. Um, there's some that I do really want to get my hands on. And I own some, like more than I've seen that have come out this year. Like I have Sisu, The Flash, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Shazam 2. Those all came out this year, but I haven't watched them yet. But because those are all 3 out of those 4 are fucking superhero movies. And I'm just fucking done with watching superhero movies, man. I'm just so fucking done with superhero movies. Um, like I still haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home, and that has Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in it. I just don't give a fuck. I'm so done. The only reason I have Spider-Verse 2 and The Flash is because I like the DC Extended Universe and I like the Spider-Verse movies. But the second one looks good, and The Flash looks like a fun, hot mess, but I just can't really bring myself to watch them right now. I'm just not interested. It's not what I'm digging right now. But to go to the second option, favorite film watched in 2023, that's a hard one because I had a shit ton of fun rewatching King of the Monsters right before my review earlier in April. Um, I really liked watching Aliens with Meadow for her very first time seeing that film. Currently, I'm rewatching the Tremors movies, and I'm having a lot of fun doing that. And I did like watching The Last of Us. I watched that with Meadow too. Um, though, to give a quick disclaimer, my favorite movie of 2023 so far, it's either no, it's Renfield with John Wick 4 as a close second. Do you like musicals, and which ones have you seen? Um, well, you could argue that a lot of Disney movies and a lot of other like kids animated movies, like the Land Before Time sequels, and All Dogs Go to Heaven too, you could argue those are musicals too. But for pure live action musicals, well, to answer the first part, I don't necessarily dislike musicals, but I don't really go out of my way to see them. They're just kind of not my thing. Like I actually rewatched Little Shop of Horrors very earlier this year, and I don't like that movie nearly as much as I used to because it's mostly just singing rather than plot and story. Effects are great though. But I have seen The Sound of Music. That's a great movie. Not just because it's a musical, although that you could argue that's probably the most famous musical ever made. Um, but yeah, I like that movie. But to answer that question, um, no, but kind of yes. And I've seen very few. If you don't count um, the animated kids movies that have a lot of songs in them. And this was probably spun off from this question. Are you excited about the Joker sequel with Lady Gaga? Fuck yeah, I am. I don't even care if it is a musical. If we see more of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker and Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, hell fucking yes, I'm sold. Just based on that casting alone, the fact that it's a sequel and Lady Gaga is Harley Quinn, I'm sold. I don't care what you do. I know that it's probably going to be balls out crazy and whack ass weird, but just the fact that we're getting more of that kind of film, I am sold. Just keep it R rated, please. It probably will be. Come on now. Next question. What's your favorite thing to eat while watching movies? Cheeseburgers or pizza or walking tacos? I'm hungry. Fuck! I'm hungry now. Not a big fan of popcorn. I don't like picking kernels out of my teeth. If you could watch any 3 Godzilla movies in the theater, what would they be? Ooh, that's a good one. Vic gave me a lot of good ones here. I think watching the original Gojira in theaters would be a really interesting experience. I would love to see Mechagodzilla 2 and Godzilla 2000. Yeah, those 3. The original Gojira, Mechagodzilla 2, and Godzilla 2000. Those are the 3 I'd want to see in theaters. With a close, very strong honorable mention going to Godzilla 1998 and Final Wars for that record, too. Next question is, was Star Trek 2 set in San Francisco? I don't think so. Oh, that sucks. They went with the Japanese cut? I've never seen the Japanese cut of Godzilla 2000, but I do know that a lot of people consider it to be like a work print or a rough cut of the film. That sucks. And that's got the shittier Orga roars, too. Next question is, how would you feel if they announced a Godzilla Gamera movie, but it turned out to be Anguirus versus Guiron with no other kaiju characters? Well, I mean, I'd be just a tiny bit disappointed, but at the same time, Anguirus versus Guiron, especially if it's the anime version of Guiron, I'd watch that. Or the anime version of both characters. Yeah, I'd watch that. Come on now. That's a cool matchup. But I would also be like, okay, guys, you guys are clearly teasing us, like just exploiting a loophole. It is a Godzilla versus Gamera movie or type movie, but you're not actually giving us Godzilla versus Gamera. I see what you assholes are doing, but it is a cool matchup, so I'll still watch it, but I do see what you dickheads are doing. What are your top 5 favorite comedy movies? That's a hard one because I don't like a lot of comedies. Especially since comedy can be mixed in with a lot of other genres like horror comedies or action comedies. So I can't do 5 pure comedy films because I don't think I can. So I'll do 3 and 1 action and 1 horror comedy. But Step Brothers, Wedding Crashers, um, a tie between Chips 2017 and Baywatch 2017, Shaun of the Dead, and The Rundown with The Rock. I know that's 6 movies, but I couldn't choose between Chips and Baywatch. Both of those movies are funny. Name one thing you like/don't hate about Tim and Eric. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Um. Oh, there's another one. Austin Powers, specifically The Spy Who Shagged Me. There's another one. That's a really funny one. Um, that could be like a subtopic. Like, what's your favorite parody? Austin Powers trilogy. That's my favorite parody, definitely. But name one. Oh, yeah. So Tim and Eric's awesome show, I think it's called. Um, Victoria is a huge fan of Tim and Eric, or yeah, Tim and Eric, and her favorite movie of all time is Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. I'm not a Tim and Eric fan. That kind of Vic's shown me a lot of Tim and Eric sketches, and I'll still watch them because she's my bestie. But that kind of humor is just not for me. And Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie was not particularly a big fan. It's too weird and too zany and too just oddball for me. But I will actually give credit. Tim and Eric, one thing I respect about them is that they don't give a fuck what people think of their content. They will make the most offbeat, whack ass, weird, cornball, odd job, bullshit content, whatever they want to do. And they don't give a fuck what anybody says about it. They'll do it if they want to. Nobody will get in their way of doing what they want. And, I got to commend them for that. It's a good mindset to have in the content creating world. If people are saying, I don't think we'll care for this, they're just like, we don't give a shit. We want to do it and we're going to do it. And you're not going to stop us. So I do got to respect that. Even if their content's not for me, they throw their blood, sweat, and tears into making whatever they want. So you got to commend them for that. Which kaiju would scare you the most if you saw it up close in real life? Probably Hedorah. I feel like that's the closest thing to a kaiju version of either John Carpenter's The Thing or the 1988 Blob. Yeah, no thanks. Is there a kaiju movie that you absolutely hate and why? The anime Godzilla trilogy. I don't like the animation. I don't like the characters. I don't like the presentation. I don't like the monster action. I just don't like any of those movies. It feels like those three films were a bad experiment piece being made by people who absolutely hate Godzilla and want to insult the fans as much as possible. They want to go out of their way to make the most anti Godzilla movie on the face of the world. Ugh, those movies just do not work for me. Favorite and least favorite Godzilla design. Favorite is Final Wars Goji. And least favorite is probably the Meguro Goji design. Mainly just because I really don't like how cheap the suit looks. It literally just weighed a measly 88 pounds, and the suit was made in a week, and it's got all those metallic patches all over Godzilla's skin. It just looks cheap and rushed, like the film itself. But the suit is just so poorly made and poorly designed. So yeah, that's probably my least favorite. What movie or movies that is not considered a comedy do you think is hilarious? Alien Resurrection. We're going to make any decent progress. I suggest we ditch the cripple. No offense, man. Non taken. Ah! Boom! 1 minute, Ron Perlman shooting a spider with a gun. um, I can't think of any others off the top of my head. I had one last night, but only one I really remember is Alien Resurrect. Well, I mean, that's also kind of a hard one because like the director wanted it to be, or the writer, like Joss Whedon, he wanted it to be funny, but it's not purely a comedy. It's a sci-fi horror film, but it is pretty damn funny. What movie or movies that is not considered a horror movie feels like a horror movie to you? I don't know if this would completely count. Oh, Pierce is here. Ah, you missed it. I already answered your questions. But you can give me 5 more in the comments if you want to. Actually, I do ask you to give me more. I'm having fun here. Yeah, what movie or movies? Um, yeah, this one might be a bit different, but Horns, it kind of is labeled as a horror film, but I don't fully consider that to be a horror movie. I think it's like a dark fantasy revenge movie. Um, but there are some pretty horrific things that happen in Horns, so I can see why people would call it one, but I don't think it's fully a horror film. But other than that, okay, there's another one too. Godzilla versus Hedorah. That one is not necessarily a horror film, but I do think it is the closest that the Godzilla series ever came to being a horror film, mainly just because there is a lot of gruesome subject matter and some pretty horrific images, especially for a monster movie of the 70s. Um, yeah, that's got some pretty gnarly shit in it. This next one's funny. Are you interested in more obscure vampire movies? Or are vampires not your thing in general? No, not really. I don't find vampires scary. I think werewolves are scarier than vampires because like you can very easily humanize vampires. Um Not so much with werewolves. Werewolves are just like pure monsters, monsters that need to be destroyed. You can sympathize with a vampire and you can even, support and like root for vampires, like with the Underworld series, for example. But I'm not disinterested necessarily in obscure vampire movies, but I think werewolves make for better horror monsters. But yeah, this next one here from Vic. Which movie do you enjoy more, Lugosi Dracula or Dick Wizard Halloween? She's specifically referring to the original Halloween. She thought Dick Warlock was in the original Halloween, but no, he's in Halloween 2 as Michael Myers. And he also was one of the robots in Halloween 3. But the question, Lugosi Dracula or the original Halloween? I'll have to actually say the original Halloween. The Lugosi Dracula, it's just too slow, too dry, and too prototypey for my tastes. Halloween is very much so the same in many ways, but I think I do appreciate Halloween just a little bit more than the original Dracula. Not to mention, too, I'm just not a big fan of Dracula as a character. He's been done so many times, I think he's just been done to death. Since you are a fan of lost tapes, would you ever start reviewing other cryptid based media like Bigfoot movies or folk horror slash monster films? Yeah, I could do that as long as I found something that was worth reviewing and yeah, like Bigfoot. There's a shit ton of Bigfoot movies out there. A lot of them shitty, but I'm sure there's some good Bigfoot movies out there, and I'm sure there's a couple decent like Loch Ness Monster or um like Dog Man or Goat Man movies out there. Those are probably kind of rare, but Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just need to find one. Next question is, what is a movie or some movies that are really good but you think have stupid titles? The Predator 2018. Why did you call it The Predator? Just call it Predator Evolution. I hate that title. I don't like GMK very much. It's just unnecessary. Like, why the hell is this title so long? Mega Monster Battle Ultra Galaxy Supermax 9000 is also kind of similar in that way. Like, the second Ultraman Zero movie is very simple. Ultraman Zero, The Revenge of Belial. Simple and to the point. But yeah, GMK and Mega Monster Battle, just like too overly long. Which Godzilla and which Ultraman in particular would you like to see team up? Well, this might be cheating a little bit, but I would love to see a new 70s Godzilla suit, like made from either Mechagodzilla 74 or Terra Mechagodzilla, like a new suit based off that design, and have the original Showa Godzilla team up with like Gamora or no, yeah, Showa Godzilla and Gamora teaming up to take on an army of monsters, Mega Monster Battle style. But I also wouldn't mind seeing um like Ultraman Zero and Final Goji team up to take on a few powerful monsters. Cinematic Trash has, what are your thoughts on Alligator 1980? I've never seen Alligator. I've seen parts of it. It definitely does look like it's trying to cash in on Jaws, or at least that kind of similar theme of nature attacks. It looks like kind of a fun monster movie, but I've just really, it's kind of hard to find last time I checked. It's a little expensive, but it looks like a relatively harmless, fun 80s monster movie. And I like those. Was Kevin Bacon in Footloose? Yes, he was. Okay. I'm gonna Vic has a few more questions for me, but I'm gonna pause and go on to Andrew now. Actually, question number one from Andrew is: what is your all-time favorite movie? The Avatar franchise. I can't choose between one and two. It's two is literally just more of my favorite movie. So yeah, Avatar and Avatar: The Way of Water. That's my favorite movie. I can't separate the two. Who or what got you to start making YouTube videos? James Rolfe, that's a repeat. Out of all the Gamera movies, which one is your favorite slash least favorite? Um, Favorite Gamera movie is Gamera 2, Advent of Legion, and least favorite is still Gamera versus Zigra. It like the epitome of boring piece of shit. Number four, what are the similarities of the two movies Gamera the Invincible and Yongari Monster from the Deep? I've actually never seen Yongari Monster from the Deep, but I do know that there are like some superficial similarities. Like Yongari himself kind of does look like if somebody was to like put Godzilla and Gamera together as one monster. Because Yongari breathes fire, and has two tusks protruding from his lower jaw, but his overall posture, like he has back dorsal plates and he stands on two legs like Godzilla. And he also shoots a laser beam from his horn, which kind of could be a callback to Godzilla's atomic breath. And yeah, they both eat oil and fire. So, yeah, I know there's some superficial similarities between the two. I don't have any desire to ever watch Yongari Monster from the Deep. That movie just looks like ass. And number 5, of out of all the kaiju that's out there, who is your favorite and who is your least favorite? My favorite is Final Wars Goji and Zetun from Ultraman. My least favorite, that's kind of hard because there's a lot of shitty Ultraman kaiju. Um, and a lot of those were only like one-off appearances, so I think it's kind of unfair to count those. But like of the most popular recurring kaiju, Gubila from Ultraman, I'm not a big fan of. I don't really understand why that's such a popular reused monster in Ultraman. Um, that's one for Ultraman. For Godzilla, well, Gamera, hands down, Virus, or at least the OG Virus. I've still yet to see Gamera Rebirth, and the new version of Virus from that show looks like a huge improvement. So the OG Virus, I think, is still incredibly lame. Um, but for Godzilla, I mean, I guess I would say Gabara, but like kind of nobody likes Gabara, so that's a little unfair too. Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of King Ghidorah. I just think King Ghidorah is so overused and overpowered and overplayed, except for King of the Monsters 2019. So I don't really have a number one least favorite, but those are like some of the biggest that come to mind. So that's all of Andrew's questions. Pierce, you got 3 more. Or no. Yeah, 3 more. Now I'm going to go to Shawnee Boy. Sean gave me 10 questions. The first one is a repeat. What kaiju do you find the scariest? Hedorah, definitely. Number 2, what kaiju movie do you find the most unintentionally funny? Like so bad it's good. Gamera Super Monster. That's like an ABC's like blueprint, like kaiju making 101 example of what not to do for a monster movie. It's kind of equivalent to like Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. You could just sit back and just be in awe at all the bad decisions on display and just be like, how the hell did this movie get released? Number 3, who is the most underrated Godzilla opponent? Megalon definitely comes to mind. Biollante also comes to mind. Space Godzilla comes to mind as well. Name a movie sequel that is long overdue from any genre. Iron Giant 2, please. Fuck you, Brad Bird. Get off your fucking high horse and give us at least one sequel, you fucking dick. I'm sure Vin Diesel would come back in a heartbeat. I'd like a Pacific Rim 3. A good one. A really proper good one. I know RoboCop Rogue City just came out, and that's kind of like the real RoboCop 3, but I would like to see another RoboCop movie. Like a proper violent R-rated RoboCop movie. That's really all I ask. Like, had the 2014 RoboCop movie been R-rated, it probably still would have been inferior, but at least it would have been gory. But no, they wanted to sterilize it. Ugh. A Terminator 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those are very overdue. And I'm not even joking. Gamera Rebirth is appreciated, but I'd like another fucking full-on live-action Gamera movie, please. Like, Godzilla's getting all this craze. Kong is getting all this craze. Ultraman is more popular than it's ever been on the entire world. And poor Gamera is just sitting there. Sure, he got he got Gamera Rebirth, which is nice, but after 17 years, all you can give us is a 6-episode miniseries? Really? What movie makes you laugh the most? Step Brothers and Wedding Crashers. Number 6 is best crossover film. Freddy vs. Jason. Hands down. It's the one I enjoy the most. Next question is, should they bring in Godzilla's son into the MonsterVerse? Yeah, I'd like to see that. I don't like this thing with the MonsterVerse that both Kong and Godzilla are the last of their kinds. But yes, we do need Dadzilla all over again. So yeah, I don't like that they're. It just kind of feels like they're intentionally limiting themselves by saying, yeah, Godzilla's the last of his kind and Kong is the last of his kind. So like once these two finally die, like well, the planet's gonna be fucked for starters. But like, why? Why have them be the last of their kind? Why not just make them the strongest of their kind? Well, that's cool for Kong, and they could say in universe that Doug, the Phytodons, could grow up to be um, full on Godzillas. But yeah, I'd like to see Godzilla be a father in the MonsterVerse. I think that'd be really cool to see. Question number 8 is best remake of all time. That's a hard one. Best, if we were to call this movie a remake, because a lot of times I don't, John Carpenter's The Thing comes to mind. Um, I mean, yeah, sure, it is called The Thing, and it does bear a lot of similarities to the original movie, but because it sticks so much closer to the source material than The Thing from Another World, it's hard for me to really call that a full-on remake. Um, And for best remake, like sticking close to the original, but still doing its own thing, the 1988 Blob movie comes to mind as well. And I would say like David Cronenberg's The Fly, but I'm not a big fan of that movie. But my favorite remake, again, I would say John Carpenter's The Thing, but if I don't consider it a remake, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Yep, I said it. I also really like Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Question number 9 is favorite animated film of all time. Ooh, that's a hard one. There's kind of 4 categories to that. Disney, Pixar. I separate Disney and Pixar. Um, non-Disney and Pixar, like Don Bluth, and anime, like Japanese animated movie. For pure Disney, I have to go with my default answer, which is a 3-way tie between um, Mulan, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and Hercules, with Tarzan as a very close fourth. For Pixar, either The Incredibles or any of the original 3 Toy Story films, in particular 2 or 3. For Don Bluth or non-Disney or Pixar, All Dogs Go to Heaven 1 and 2. Hold on. Oh, I don't have those anymore. Oh, there's another one too. Real quick. DreamWorks, Shrek 1 and 2. So there's 5. And then finally, for a Japanese animated movie, this one's kind of cheating because it's not technically a movie, it's an OVA. But Mad Bull 34. I really like Mad Bull 34. It's batshit, balls out, pants on head crazy. And it's hilarious. It's like Japanese Lethal Weapon, but very violent, very exploitative, and very over the top. And very entertaining as hell. Iron Giant's another good one too. Not quite one of my favorites because that fucking sequel tease just makes me scalp myself every time. And final question is, what is the saddest movie you've ever seen? Will Smith's I Am Legend. That movie makes me cry like a baby every time I watch it. It's like Depression the movie. Excuse me. Pierce, you still got 2 more questions. If he's still here. Now we're moving on to Jackie Boy. Jackie Boy also gave me 10 questions. Question number 1, Team Kong or Team Godzilla? Boy, come on now. The fuck? I think it's pretty obvious. Hashtag Team Godzilla, of course. Question number 2, 33, 76, or 05? I'm assuming King Kong. So, King Kong 05. Yep. Question number 3 is favorite Kong design. Kong Skull Island. I've never seen Marley and Me, and I've also never seen Old Yeller. I will never watch fucking Old Yeller. I know how it ends. I have no interest. Dogs always fucking die. God, fuck you assholes. You know what would be original? Is if we watched a dog movie where the dog didn't fucking die. Like Love and Monsters. Dog didn't die in that movie. Shocking. But yeah, Kong Skull Island Kong is my favorite design. And for the record, too, MonsterVerse Kong in general is my favorite incarnation of Kong. But my favorite overall look for him is from Kong Skull Island. Thoughts on -1 coming up? I already answered that. Homeward. Well, I've never seen the original Homeward Bound. Oh, actually, no. I do know that they don't die in both movies, or Homeward Bound 2, for that matter. So, okay, there's one. I like Homeward Bound. That's a cute movie. The remake, the one with Michael J. Fox. Favorite Godzilla design? That would be yeah, Final Wars Goji. Question number 6: Showa, Heisei, Millennium, or Reiwa era of kaiju movies. Which one is your favorite? Ooh. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Favorite era of kaiju movies? Well, I can't tell you my least favorite. That would probably be the Heisei era. There are some Heisei Godzilla movies and some Heisei Ultraman shows that I love, but I do think that the Heisei era, especially of Godzilla, is the most overrated. Um, but my favorite, honestly, I'm gonna have to go with the Millennium era. Um, yeah, probably the Millennium era, which it might be ironic considering I said I'm really sick of anthology Godzilla, but I mean, he gave me Final Wars and Godzilla 2000 and the Kiryu saga, along with, well, this is a little different. Like for the Ultraman side of things, we got Mebius around the same year or same time. Gamera the Brave, I really like. Um, but the Reiwa era has also been pretty damn good too, because we got Pacific Rim, Godzilla 2014, um, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters. Um, yeah, Millennium or Reiwa era of kaiju films, but the Showa series has a lot of good ones too. I think the Showa era of kaiju movies is the most fascinating and the most interesting era to like study and discuss, and also well, maybe not the most, but the Showa series is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, hell, look at all the Showa era Ultraman shows I got up here, and then all the Showa Godzilla movies and Showa Gamera. Even if a lot of those movies are terrible, they're still fun to discuss. This next one's a little hard. Could the Millennium Falcon take on, or what other sci-fi craft could match up against Mechagodzilla? I can't really answer that question. I'm sorry. Minya or Godzilla Jr.? I'd probably have to go with Godzilla Jr. Unless it's Final Wars Minya, which in that case, I prefer that one too. But Godzilla Jr. is the better of the infant Godzillas. What would be your ideal kaiju theme park ride? That's hard. I can't answer that question either, Jack. I'm sorry. Because I never really think much about theme parks. And the final question here is, what's more important to you in a kaiju film, the story or the monster fights? Not to sound like one of those people, but I do prefer the monster fights for both kaiju films and kaiju shows. Like for Ultraman, I'm watching Ultraman for Ultraman fighting monsters. That's what I want to see. If there's a good human side of the story, that's great, but that's an added bonus for me. I want to see the title characters doing what they do best. So, yeah, I prefer monster fights. It's a big reason why I hate the anime trilogy of Godzilla movies, because the kaiju action in those movies are horrendous. Oh, and before we finish up on all these questions, well, hang on. Did I finish all of them? I got Sean, Jack, Pierce, Andrew, and Hellhound. Yep. So before we finish up on Vic's questions, I'll be right back. I got to use the bathroom. Too much burp fuel. Jesus. Quote Tremors 2. That's a long leak. I didn't need to because that's not what I did. I just took a very long leak. I see I have a couple more here though. Cinematic Trash asks, are you a fan of any grindhouse films or Italian horror? Italian horror, no, not really. I've tried a few times to get into Italian horror, and none of it really works for me. What's your favorite hentai? I don't watch hentai. I mean, I used to, but nah, not anymore. Although Wicked City could kind of be considered a hentai, but I actually think that's a good movie. Um, oh, I haven't seen Ultraman Ace, at least not in full. Though that does look like a fun series. It's a lot of fish. But to go back to Pierce's question, are you a fan of of Italian horror? Nah, I've tried a few times to get into Italian horror. None of the fucking movies make literally any sense. Like Suspiria doesn't make much sense. Um, House by the Cemetery doesn't make any sense. City of the Living Dead doesn't make any sense. So many Italian horror films, their plots are just so disjointed and make like no sense. Most of the characters are either unlikable or boring. Whenever they make a sequel, they're not sequels. They're just sequels in name only, like Zombie 2 and Zombie 3. It's just called Zombie 3 as like an anthology film. It's just another zombie outbreak movie. Have you seen The Giant Claw? No, I have not. And I have no intentions to watch that battleship-sized piece of shit. Um, and as for grindhouse films, no, not particularly. A lot of times those movies are pretty poorly made. But I also just don't really go out of my way to watch movies like that. But especially for Italian horror, nah, it's not for me. Zombie 2 by Lucio Fulci is probably like it is. It's the closest to like a good Italian horror film. It's for me, it's the most watchable Italian horror film I've ever seen. There's another one here. Sean asked me, oh, favorite anime series in general. The 2005 Guyver Bio Booster Armor. Yeah, that's an amazing anime. Great animation, great music, great characters, and great action. It's very gory and fucked up. Um, oh, and Pierce asks, what are your thoughts on The Lost World 1925? I've actually never seen The Lost World from 1925. I don't like silent films. Um, but I know of the 1925 The Lost World. It's got some good stop motion for its time, and I can see that it definitely probably was like the ultimate seeds to be sown for the kaiju genre. Like even King Kong from 33 owes some of its shit to the Lost World, but no desire to seek it out and watch it. No, thank you. I'd rather read the novel that it's based on or watch the BBC miniseries. And Pierce also asks, have you seen any films from Empire Pictures like Cellar Dweller, Dungeon Master, Robot Jocks, Arena, Dolls, etc.? Not to my knowledge, no. Didn't that also at one point become Full Moon? In which case, I've seen reviews of Full Moon films, but I have absolutely no desire to actually watch any Full Moon films, except maybe the Subspecies movies. But even then, nah. Full Moon really does not interest me very much. They're kind of like Trauma. But the thing is, Trauma doesn't have a whole lot of resources, but at least their movies are somewhat entertaining. Full Moon, they have a bit more resources at their disposal, but the problem is that it seems like a lot of Full Moon movies take themselves too seriously to be fully enjoyed. Like Puppet Master, that's a good example. Like, you'd think a movie about killer puppets, each one with their own gimmick, would be fun and over the top, but that movie looks like it's a complete snoozer. So, no thank you. Alrighty, so now we're going to finish off with the last of Vic's questions, unless you guys in the comments have any more to throw at me. Top 3 or 5 favorite kaiju roars. That's a good one. Shawnee Boy asks, favorite video you and I did together. Godzilla King of the Monsters. And Godzilla 2014. I'm actually very well. Hang on, I'll save that for a little bit later. This is going on a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's okay. Kaiju roars. The Millennium Godzilla roar. That's my favorite of all the Godzilla roars. I do like also the MonsterVerse Godzilla roar too. Let's see. I love Kiryu's roar as well. The Jaws 3 and Revenge video was also pretty entertaining. Yeah, that was a good one. Kaiju roars. Gigan's roar. I like that one a lot. Both Showa and Final Wars. Biollante. I like that one a lot too. Final Form Biollante. I do like Destroya's roar a lot too. I do like Gamera's roar when it's not muffled and obscured like in the Heisei series. And that's it for burp fuel. And as for Ultra Kaiju, I love Gulza. And well, Z-Ton doesn't really roar, but I do like the sound effects for Z-Ton a lot. Z-Ton. I like Gamora's roar a lot too from Ultraman. What are your thoughts on some Albert Pyun films? I've never seen a single Albert Pyun movie. I don't even know who that is. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. Pyun, Pyun. I'm guessing it's not Pyun. So yeah, Pyun, I think. Yeah, I've never seen a single one. At least not that I know of. So yeah, there's my answer. Millennium Godzilla, Legendary Godzilla, Biollante, Kiryu, um, Gigan, Gamera, and Golza in Zeton. Which Superman villain do you want to see in a movie that is not Lex fucking Luthor? Speaking my language. Uh, Brainiac. I would love to see Brainiac done properly. I mean, Brainiac was done pretty well in Injustice 2, but a full-on big budget movie with Brainiac would be an awesome Superman movie. Yeah, please not Lex Luthor again. I'm so fucking sick of godly powered superheroes having human supervillains. I'm so sick of that. But yeah, Brainiac. With Livewire and Manchester Black as close seconds. Which James Gunn associated movie do you prefer? Guardians of the Galaxy, The Suicide Squad, or Tromeo and Juliet? Oh my God, Tromeo and Juliet. Oof, jeez. The Suicide Squad, because it's R-rated, and it has Sylvester Stallone as King Shark. And no dumb friends. Bird. Favorite human cast in a kaiju movie and or series? For kaiju film, I gotta go with King of the Monsters 2019. And for series, Godzilla the Animated Series, without a shadow of a doubt. Um, Andrew here is asking, do you like any of the James Bond movies? Okay, this will come as a shocker. Me being such a big movie fan, I've only seen 2 James Bond movies in my entire life. I've seen Thunderball, and I've seen, oh, what was the other one? What was the other one? Live and Let Die. No, was it? No. Oh, Die Another Day, the one with Halle Berry as the Bond girl. Um, I'm not a big James Bond fan. I like Thunderball a lot, mainly just because of the fucking music. Oh, the music in Thunderball is like orgasmic for the ears, anyway. And as for Albert Pyun, he did Alien from L.A., the Kickboxer movies, the Nemesis movies, Radioactive Dreams, The Sword and the Sorcerer, Cyborg, Hong Kong 97, and the 1990 Captain America movie. I've never seen a single one of those movies. Should there ever be a Mrs. Godzilla? We've seen Godzilla as a single dad, but he's always solo. No, because he can be a symbol for single fathers. Yeah, but favorite human cast for kaiju film? Um, Godzilla King of the Monsters. And then for series, I'll give you 2 answers actually. Godzilla the Animated Series and Ultraman Mebius. Top 5 favorite kaiju and or kaiju movies that are not Japanese or American. I can't answer that because I don't think there are any that are Japanese or American that I do like. Like there's Gorgo, the giant behemoth. Those are British. Conga, it's also British. That's about it off the top of my head. Do you think Punisher Warzone is the most underrated slash unintentionally funny Marvel movie? I don't know about the most underrated, but it is very underrated, yes. And I don't know about unintentionally funny. Um, but yeah, I think that's an underrated movie. Top 3 slasher villain. Oh yeah, there's Reptilicus too. That's Danish. I've never seen Reptilicus actually. Top 3 slasher villain deaths. Chucky's death in Child's Play 2. Michael Myers' death in Halloween Ends. And Freddy's death in Nightmare on Elm Street 4. What are the cringiest kaiju moments in your opinion? Cringy. Bad effects. Like most of the effects in the X from Outer Space. Um, some of the effects from Reptilicus, from what I've seen, and the bad blue screen work in a lot of. The bad. What the hell is the name of that thing? That piece of technology from Mothra versus Godzilla. I can't remember that, but a lot of it's not blue screen, but it was like this special, like kind of blue screen or composite equipment that only 3 in the world existed, and Eiji Tsuburaya got his hands on one, and they used it for Mothra versus Godzilla. Whenever Godzilla's walking in the background, those shots do not age well. All of them look very faded, blurry, and poor. So there's cringy moments. Which new kaiju from the MonsterVerse do you want to see more of? Methuselah, Behemoth, Godzilla himself? Uh, skull crawlers. I want to see more skull crawlers. What do you think of a Godzilla movie done like Land Before Time, where the monsters are the main characters and can talk? I would eat that shit up. I'm assuming you finally got a Blu-ray player and HD TV. Are you ever going to make the jump to 4K? No. No. 4K discs are very expensive. They're $30 a piece. I have a problem with paying $18 a piece for new movies at Walmart, and I work there. And Blu-ray players are also very expensive. They're like $170. And with my rampaging semen demon chewing on everything left and right, I'd have to get at least 3 4K players. But I think you'd also have to get a special TV in order to play 4K discs. And to be honest, I've never seen, like, I don't really see much of a difference between 4K and Blu-ray. So no. I think 4K is purely just a gimmick. And it's a proprietary item that to me is completely pointless. That's just like another form. Like, I support physical media, and if you have the disposable income to get 4K players and discs, go right ahead. Support physical media for as long as we can. But for me personally, no, I'll never make the jump to 4K. Blu-ray is where I draw my line, because even Blu-rays can be cheaper than DVDs sometimes. I don't really care about picture quality as long as it doesn't look like a bad VHS rip. Like, I have a bunch of DVDs still from 15 years ago, and I watch them just fine. If the movie's on Blu-ray, cool. If I see one movie on Blu-ray and DVD, and whichever one's cheaper, I'll go for that one, regardless of whether or not it's DVD or Blu-ray. Oh, and Vic has one last question for me. What are your plans for 2024 for your channel and or in general? But before that, do you ever watch special features? I used to watch a lot of special features. Like the making of documentary for Tremors. But since all the attack packs got rid of that for their releases, I can't watch that because that's a great documentary. I actually do plan on getting the Arrow release of both Tremors and Tremors 2 just to get some special features. And I have the collector's edition of Avatar, and I've watched all the special features on this set. I've watched the featurettes, the making of documentary. Oh my god. And I've seen all of the deleted scenes. Um, so I used to, but they like to separate special features from DVDs and Blu-rays nowadays. And because I have limited means for disposable income, I just go for the cheaper option. My favorite special feature is actually audio commentaries, especially for like actors and directors for movies. Those are my favorites, like the commentary for Hellboy 2004 or the commentary for the first Men in Black. That's got Tommy Lee Jones in it. So yes, but not so much nowadays. But I used to love watching special features. Oh, and for all the classic media Godzilla DVDs, I've watched all the special features for those too. Those are some of the best special features. Like I definitely eat up special features for kaiju movies, Godzilla in particular, because they are unavailable for so long. I just eat up all that behind the scenes stuff. Um, what do you think of a future MonsterVerse movie where both Godzilla and Kong are fathers who don't like each other, but their kids get along? I'd watch that, of course. I would just watch anything MonsterVerse related as long as it got a DVD release. Ooh. And on that note, too, the collector's edition of Avatar 2 is coming out late next month, and I plan on getting my hands on that. But yeah, the final question from Victoria, I think, is a good transition into the second half of this video. Hold on. Okay. What are your plans for 2024 for both your channel and life in general? So, have you seen the kaiju movie The Lake? Yes, I have seen The Lake, and it was atrocious. I fucking hated that movie. It looked promising, but god damn, it was a complete snooze fest. Oh, that was terrible. Made me wait 8 months for a Blu-ray release of that piece of shit. Yeah, so let's talk about 2023 finally. I think we can all agree that 2023 has been kind of a very it's been because I thought that I think 2022, like since my relaunch of my channel, I think 2022 might have been the weakest year of my channel. I don't know what it is. I think I was just really struggling to like be consistent for 2023 for a lot of it. Like I don't like my I deleted my Star Wars reviews. Um but that's beside the point. 2023, I think in some ways for my channel has been an improvement over last year. I'm not as consistent as I used to be, like especially not like 2021, but I've had some really good videos this year, like March of the Apes. Well, March of the Apes is kind of mixed. I wish I had more to say about Rampage, but Congo 5 was a good re-review. Kong Skull Island was a good re-review. And then and definitely this year I kind of started out stumbling because my Paranormal Activity series review fizzled out. When I attempted to do my third episode of Super Ultra Binge, I got fucking sick on camera, and that was embarrassing, so I deleted that. And I think I was just a little bit aimless for the first couple months of my channel, but once March rolled around, definitely that's when I was like, okay, yeah, I want to have fun. I want to do fun projects. So when are you going to redo Godzilla 84? More on that in just a little bit. So I can definitely, in my opinion, say that the best videos, or a lot of the best videos that I've done this year, were the kaiju stuff. And I did try to do a lot of firsts this year. This year and last year, I did a lot of firsts. You should review more movies you haven't reviewed yet. You keep doing re-reviews and re-rankings and re-this and re-that. Breathe some new life on your channel. Well, I would do that, and I've been trying to do that. Like this year I did oh, what was it? Oh, I did the first episode of Let's Read, which kind of went nowhere because my Star Wars phase for this year literally came and went in the snap of a finger. I did The Last of Us season 1. That was kind of fun. Um, and I've gotten a lot of not a lot of shit, but I have gotten some shit from some viewers for doing a whole bunch of re-reviews. See, I mean, if that's not what you want to watch, you don't have to watch my shit. But I like doing re-rankings and re-reviews, especially with a strong passage of time, and especially for like if I reviewed a movie that I only watched once and then I watch it again, and my opinion either changes for the better or changes for the worse, and it's worthy enough for its own video. Um, and sometimes it's like for a re-ranking video, it's warranted because my opinions can be definitive, like re-ranking the Halloween franchise. That's one of the best videos that me and Shawnee Boy did this year, because that was the first time I'd actually binged the Halloween series from beginning to end. It was warranted. Um, but I started Super Cinema Rank this year, which I need to get more things or more episodes done for that. And I did some good stuff this year, like ranking the 7 deadly slashers. I started the Transformers franchise with Jackie Boy. That was fairly successful. Um, I did my top 15 favorite horror sequels. I reviewed Cloverfield. I ranked the Evil Dead franchise. That was a fun one, too. I had a female guest for the first time, and also the first guest in person for the first time this year. I did the Universal ranking videos. Those were a lot of fun. I finally reviewed Godzilla vs. Kong. Hands down, though, the two videos that I'm most proud of this year, aside from re-ranking the Halloween series and Godzilla 1998, is Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Me and Shawnee Boy's Godzilla 2014 video, I am very proud of, because mainly just because, well, we give a good discussion. But I also think me and Shawnee Boy did a really good job of making a strong case for Godzilla 2014 for Godzilla 2014 haters. Like, we acknowledge its flaws, but we also do like give a strong case in saying, yeah, this actually is a good movie. It's got some problems, but it's a very worthy Godzilla film. So I'm quite proud of me and Shawnee Boy for doing that for 2014. But in general, I think the best video that me and Shawnee Boy did this year was King of the Monsters. That was a very fun video. Um, yeah, me and Sean, especially me, I was just having a blast talking about King of the Monsters. It's just such a good movie. It's such a fun film to discuss. And me and Shawnee Boy, we were clicking just like that the whole time talking about the film. It was great. But the so those are the ups, the strong ups of 2023. But there's also been a lot of downs. Like I said previously, this year has just been kind of a mediocre slash meh year for movies. Like there's been, from what I can tell, there's movies that came out this year that I'm interested in, like The Meg 2, The Sound of Freedom, The Creator, and The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and Aquaman 2. That's the only superhero movie I'm looking forward to seeing. I want to see Blue Beetle as well. But this year, I think we've seen the largest amount of films either underperforming or flopping hard in theaters in a long time. Well, good for fucking you, Shawnee Boy, going to G Fest. I will never, ever go to G Fest. It's too far, too expensive, and too much of a pain in the ass. Um, but let's go through some movies that bombed hard this year. Disney's The Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Oh damn, that was a huge flop. Shazam 2, Ant-Man Quantumania. That one didn't bomb, but it was a major underperformer. Yeah, I know the floppers. The Marvels is flopping right now too. I've been saying this all year. We are in the downfall of the superhero genre right now. And that makes me very happy. Especially we are in the downfall of Disney right now. And I've been saying that's going to happen for at least since early 2021. And it's making me laugh and laugh and laugh. Little Mermaid flopped too due to overseas numbers being low. How ironic. A movie under the sea is flopping due to poor overseas numbers. Well, also, well, that could be another example. Like, who the hell asked for a live action Little Mermaid? Whatever, though. Disney in general this year has been taking a lot of fucking hits, and that makes me very happy because Disney is evil. I think their biggest success was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but that didn't even break $1 billion. So, like, it is a success, but at the same time, I'm sure it wasn't as successful as Disney was hoping it would be. Last Voyage of the Demeter didn't do well. Renfield didn't do well. And probably the biggest bomb of the whole year, except for maybe Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, we finally got the Flash movie that so many people, except for me, have been asking for 15 years. And it made barely like $230 million against a massive $300 million budget. I own it. I still haven't seen it yet. But damn, did it bomb hard. That was a little disappointing. Although I think there's 3 factors as to why that movie flopped. One is that it took 15 years to get on its feet. 2, it got delayed too many fucking times. 3, all the controversies surrounding Ezra Miller. And actually a 4th, DC fans just suck. I think that's the main reason why Blue Beetle bombed. So yeah, this movie or this year has been a very ho hum year for film. Mainly just well, a big part of it is because superhero fatigue is at an all time high right now. The SAG-AFTRA strikes have also certainly affected a lot of movies this year. That's I think that's the reason why a lot of mediocre films have come out this year, and why I haven't seen that many because a lot of stuff this released this year I just haven't really been interested in, except the Meg 2. I'm still waiting to get my hands on that. But yeah, it's almost like COVID all over again because the strikes just went on for so long and so much shit got delayed. Um, a lot of interesting stuff just kept getting pushed back to next year or the year after that. So that's a little disappointing. I'm sure that once this year is finally over and all the movies that I want to see have been released on DVD, I'll do like a full on like 2023 catch up and see all the ones that I haven't seen. I'll be like, okay, no, this year actually was pretty decent, but still, this has been a very mediocre year for film. And personally, it's also been kind of a challenging year for myself because I still struggle with fatherhood. I've never said that on camera, but I do struggle with fatherhood, and it's a challenge. Being a parent's a challenge that is very stressful, and it's very harrowing, and it's very just frustrating at times. Financially too, Meadow finally had to go back to work. And it was like pulling teeth or pulling hair to get Meadow to go back to work because options for jobs here are so limited. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Um, and also on that note, me and Meadow have had some relationship turmoil this year that was pretty stressful and frustrating. Um, but to go to the plans for 2024, to wrap up, 2023 has been an extremely mixed year. It had some good highs, but it has had some pretty bad lows, like both for film and personally. Like financially, we're struggling like so much that Meadow has to go back to work, and that was a big headache trying to figure out what we're going to do with Roman. Either put him in daycare or have a family member watch him. It was just a mess. Um, and me and Meadow went through some rough patches this year, but we're working to fix them, which is good. It's good that me and Meadow just don't call it quits like so many other people nowadays, especially nowadays. Ugh. But I am hopeful that 2024 will be a major improvement. Now that the strikes are all done, there's a lot more interesting films that are coming out in 2024 from the couple brief snippets I've seen. Um, so I look forward to all those. But as for my channel, because 2024 will be the 70th anniversary of Godzilla, there's going to be a lot more focus on kaiju material next year. At the beginning of next year, I'm going to review the. Oh yeah, the new Hunger Games movie. Like, who the hell asked for that? I've never even seen the Hunger Games movies, but like, who the hell asked for a prequel? Whatever though. But yeah, since 2024 is Godzilla's 70th birthday, there's going to be a bigger focus on kaiju videos next year. I'm going to begin the year with reviewing The Return of Godzilla, and I'm probably going to go through the whole Heisei series. I got to review Godzilla the Animated Series. I got to review. I'll of course review Godzilla Kong: The New Empire when it comes out on DVD, and if Monarch Legacy of Monsters gets a DVD release, I'll review that when it gets if it gets a DVD release. Kaiju shows that have been released, like the anime Godzilla trilogy, Godzilla Singular Point, which I still have not seen to this day, Gamera Rebirth, and Pacific Rim the Black. Oh, and fucking season 1 of Skull Island. I really don't give a shit about that show. I'm sorry, guys, but I just don't fucking care. 2 years of silence. And then you drop a trailer, and a month later, you drop the show. And it's only 8 episodes long, 22 minutes apiece. Fuck you. Yeah, I'm finally. I think I'll like save all of the Netflix kaiju stuff for like its own marathon. Because to be honest, kind of none of that really interests me. Like the anime Godzilla trilogy just left such a bad taste in my mouth. Now I'm just like, and I haven't seen Singular Point, but I have seen a few reviews, and that show doesn't really interest me either. So Netflix kaiju stuff looks extremely hit or miss for me. But I will finally get around to talking about those. And of course, I'll review the Millennium Godzilla series. But I'm going to save that for near the end of next year because I would like to finish off Super Kaiju Binge with Godzilla Final Wars. At least for everything that's been released up until now. Not counting Ultraman, that's its own series in and of itself. But yeah, next year, the plan for the channel is going to be kaiju focused because of the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. There's a lot coming down the pipeline for Super Kaiju Binge, lots of guests, hopefully. A few first-time watches, and it's just going to be a fun kaiju time for this channel. I'll, of course, do other stuff here and there. But yeah, the main focus for next year, I want to finally finish up Super Kaiju Binge. So I can move on to Super Kaiju Cast, but that's another conversation. Oh, then maybe maybe I can have 2 people for Godzilla 84. Maybe. I'll get back to you on that. But for life plans next year, I mainly I want to move next year. That's the whole reason why I had Meadow go back to work is because. Oh shit! Hold on. I think I come prepared. Ow, that hurt. Oh my god. My son chews on wires. Thank God this thing still works, but ugh. There we go. Sadly, no. Anyway, the whole reason I had Meadow go back to work is we still live in this tiny 1-bedroom apartment. My son is almost 2.5 years old. He needs his own space. Me and Meadow both need our own spaces back. It was fine when it was just her and I, but now that Roman is getting a lot more rambunctious and he runs all over the place and gets into everything, we need our own spaces. So next year, I want to move. I want to move into a 2-bedroom apartment. So That's the main mission for next year, moving into a 2-bedroom apartment and saving money. That's another reason why Meadow had to go back to work. It's literally gotten so expensive, it is impossible for me to save money as the sole breadwinner of the house with my current salary. I could get a new job, but I have to learn how to drive first. I know I'm 26 years old and I still don't know how to drive. I know it's sad. That'll be another mission for next year. So, learn how to drive, move into a 2-bedroom apartment, and save $5,000. Those are my 3 missions for next year. 4 counting all the kaiju stuff that I have planned for next year. So that's all I really have to say. 2023 has been a very mixed year. Yep. And thank you for best of luck for next year. Yeah, I'm gonna need it because it's gonna be hard. I really hope things go smoothly next year. I hope we have a better repertoire of films next year to pick and choose from. I just hope things go much smoother next year because this one's been tough. So, thank you all for all the questions. Like, thank you, Vic. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Andrew and Pierce and Jackie Boy. Thank you for all your questions. And thank you for all your support. I know I haven't reached a subscriber milestone, but I have been doing videos come this February for 9 years. So that'll be fun. Look forward to all the kaiju content coming next year. And wish me luck on my journey to get a car and get a 2-bedroom apartment and saving money. And but now normally my last video of the year would be the year-end review video. And then I take Christmas time off so that I can recharge my batteries, which I am going to be doing that. I will be taking December off, mostly to get all the lists, or more of them anyway, done for... Oh, shut up, Sean. Get the lists made for more episodes of Super Cinema Rank. I'll be doing that for a lot of December. But we're going to do something a little different this year. We're going to end the month, or the year of 2023, and the month of November with a very special review. Now, there's a reason why I wanted a lot of the questions asked for this Q&A to be kaiju themed. Because originally I was going to review Gamera Rebirth, but I've done enough Gamera this year, and I wanted to save that for a dedicated marathon of Netflix kaiju stuff. But we will be ending this year with a very special video. I'm not going to say what it is, but it is what spawned the resurgence of interest in kaiju media, for myself at least. Post your comments down below and let me know what you think. Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends. And as always, go out, watch monster movies, watch your favorite films, and have a happy Thanksgiving. And after the next video, have a good month of December. And I will see you guys in the next one.